Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Okay, well, today we're going to be talking all about dinosaurs.
Oh, cool.
But not like, the usual stuff like, oh, how big were they? How did they fight?
Yeah.
Today we're talking about what they ate
Okay.
and how their diets might have helped them, become so dominant.
Interesting.
And the really cool part is we're getting all this info from, get this, fossilized poop.
Oh, wow. So coprolites.
Yeah.
It might sound a little gross,
Yeah, I know, right?
but those fossilized feces are actually packed with information.
Well, that's what I'm hoping we can find out today. Like, what can we actually learn from
Well,
coprolites?
Tons. Like, for this deep dive, we're going to be focusing on a new study that was published in Nature,
Oh, cool.
and it's based on, 25 years of research in the Polish Basin.
Wow, 25 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a really cool site. And basically, it gives us a snapshot of the Late Triassic period, 230 to 200 million years ago.
Okay. And why is that period so important?
Well, that's when dinosaurs first started to really, take over.
Oh, I see. So the Polish Basin is like a window into that moment when dinosaurs started to become dominant.
Exactly.
Wow.
Researchers there have unearthed all sorts of crazy fossils, like plants, bones with bite marks on them. They even found fossilized vomit.
Oh, yuck.
I know, right?
But the real treasure trove, I guess, are the coprolites.
The coprolites are really where it's at. They're like missing pieces of a giant puzzle.
That's fascinating. And I read that this study uses some pretty high-tech methods to analyze these coprolites. So what exactly is involved in this coprolite CSI?
So it's basically like a superpowered CAT scan, but for ancient poop.
Okay.
Scientists use a technique called synchrotron imaging.
Synchrotron imaging.
Yeah, it's basically a giant X-ray machine.
Okay.
But way more powerful than your average X-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets the researchers see all these incredibly tiny details inside the coprolites.
Okay, so like a regular X-ray would just show you like a solid lump, but with the synchrotron imaging, you can actually see what's inside.
Exactly. Like individual bones, seeds, plant fibers, basically the dinosaurs' last meals.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's like having a grocery list from millions of years ago.
I know. It's so cool.
So what did they find on that grocery list? Like, what were these dinosaurs actually eating?
Well, the menu is pretty diverse.
Oh, okay.
The coprolites, they reveal everything from fish bones and insect parts to, remnants of larger animals and, of course, plants.
Okay, so you got like fish eaters, insect eaters, even meat eaters.
Yep, all kinds of diners. And it's paints this picture of a thriving ecosystem.
Yeah, really dynamic. And I read that some of these coprolites were remarkably well preserved.
Yeah, some of them are incredible. They found complete beetles and almost whole fish.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know. In some cases, you can even see the spiral shape of a fish's digestive system.
Really?
After millions of years.
That's incredible.
It really is. And then there are the coprolites from, bone-crushing predators.
Okay, what about them?
Well, they're filled with, fragments of bone, kind of like what you'd see from, a modern hyena.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But perhaps the most surprising findings came from the coprolites of sauropods.
Sauropods?
Yeah, sauropods.
Okay.
The giant, long-necked herbivores.
Like Brachiosaurus.
Yeah, exactly like Brachiosaurus.
I always pictured them, just kind of munching on leaves all day long.
Yeah, you'd think so, right.
Yeah.
And they did eat a lot of plants, especially tree ferns.
Okay.
But here's where it gets interesting.
What?
The researchers also found something else in those coprolites, mixed in with the ferns.
What?
Charcoal.
Charcoal, like from a fire?
Yeah, from a fire.
Were they having prehistoric barbecues or something?
No, not quite.
Yeah.
The leading theory is that they were actually eating the charcoal to counteract toxins in their diet.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well, you see, ferns can be toxic to herbivores.
Oh, okay.
And charcoal has this unique ability to bind to those toxins and help flush them out.
It's like a natural remedy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Millions of years before Pepto-Bismol.
Wow. So these giant dinosaurs were self-medicating.
It seems that way.
That is so cool. It makes you wonder what other secrets are hiding in those coprolites.
I know. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just a fun fact. This discovery points to something much bigger. The adaptability of dinosaurs. Remember we talked about the Late Triassic, how it was the beginning of their domination?
Yeah.
Well, this ability to adjust their diet, to eat a wider range of foods, was a key factor in their survival.
Right. So if you were a picky eater back then, you probably didn't last very long.
Not at all. And this actually brings us to another cool part of the study. Based on their findings, the researchers developed this 5-step model for dinosaur evolution.
Okay, I am all ears. Tell me about this 5-step model.
All right, so step 1 focuses on, well, step 1 is all about how the early dinosaurs were like these, small and agile creatures.
Okay.
Kind of like the underdogs, in a world that was ruled by other reptiles.
Okay, I like that. Like the scrappy startups of the Triassic.
Exactly. And they were likely warm-blooded, which gave them like an advantage.
How so?
Well, in terms of activity levels,
Yeah.
They could move around more.
Yeah.
And they also had a diverse diet.
Okay, so that was key to their survival.
Exactly. They were adaptable.
So they were like the Swiss Army knives of the Triassic, able to like handle different environments and food sources.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it. So what about step 2? What happens in the step 2?
So step 2 is where things get really interesting. This is when dinosaurs, they start to diversify their diets even more. They're exploring new niches, in the ecosystem.
Okay.
Some of them, like the sauropods we talked about, they
Uh-huh.
became specialized herbivores.
Oh, right.
They developed those long necks
Yeah.
to reach the high foliage.
Makes sense.
And then others evolved into carnivores.
Okay.
They developed those powerful jaws and teeth for hunting.
Right. Right.
And this dietary diversification, it was crucial.
Right.
It allowed them to exploit a wider range of resources.
Right. So it's like each group of dinosaurs found its own like culinary niche, its own way to thrive in this ancient world.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
So what happened in step 3?
Step 3. That's when we see the rise of the truly gigantic dinosaurs.
Ooh, okay.
The behemoths, the ones that we often picture when we think about, the Mesozoic era.
Like Brachiosaurus or T-Rex.
Exactly, like Brachiosaurus or T-Rex.
Those are the big guys.
Those are the big guys. It was a time of intense evolutionary, experimentation.
Wow.
Dinosaurs pushing the boundaries of size and anatomy.
It's amazing to think about those creatures evolving into such colossal forms. But didn't that size also make them more vulnerable to, like, environmental changes?
That's a really good point, and it leads us to step 4, which is all about the dinosaurs' ability to adapt to a changing world.
Right.
Remember Pangaea, the supercontinent, was breaking apart during this time.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that led to shifts in climate, sea levels, the distribution of land masses.
Yeah. Right. Big changes.
Big changes. And so the dinosaurs that thrived were the ones that could adjust, right?
Okay.
Including finding new food sources, migrating to more favorable habitats.
So even though they were these giants, they still had to be flexible and resourceful to survive.
Absolutely.
That sounds like a lot of pressure.
It was. So that brings us to step 5, the final step.
Okay.
And that's the culmination of dinosaur evolution. Their reign as the dominant land animals, for over 150 million years.
Wow, that's a long time.
I know, right? By this point, dinosaurs, they were everywhere. They'd spread across the globe, inhabiting all sorts of different ecosystems.
Okay.
They evolved into this, incredible diversity of forms, from feathered raptors to, the armored ankylosaurs. And their success was a testament to, their ability to adapt, diversify,
Okay.
exploit the opportunities that, came with the changing world.
Wow. Okay. I have to say, this 5-step model is really cool.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It's like watching this grand evolutionary play unfold.
It is.
With the dinosaurs, front and center. It's not just about the giant creatures and the sharp teeth anymore.
Right.
It's about adaptation, resilience, the interplay between life and its environment.
Exactly.
But let's bring this back to, you, the listener. Why should you care about dinosaur diets from millions of years ago? Like, what's the relevance to us today?
Well, that's a great question. And it's easy to think of dinosaurs as like, relics of the past,
Yeah.
creatures that have nothing to do with our world.
Right.
But the truth is, the Earth's ecosystems, that delicate balance of life, that's still very much present today. And understanding how those ecosystems functioned in the past, especially during times of change, can give us valuable insights into how life might adapt to changes in the future.
So studying dinosaurs isn't just about digging up old bones.
Yeah.
It's about understanding, like, the very principles that govern life on our planet.
Exactly. Like, think about it. The Late Triassic, it wasn't just the dawn of dinosaur domination.
Yeah.
It was also a time of major, major upheaval. environmentally.
Oh, yeah.
Pangea was breaking apart.
Right.
The climate was fluctuating.
Yeah.
Entire ecosystems were, being reshaped. Sound familiar?
It does. And the dinosaurs that survived, the ones that thrived, were the ones that could adapt to those changes, right? Including, changes in their food sources. It's like they were facing challenges that in some ways, mirror the challenges that we face today, like climate change, habitat loss.
Exactly. And by studying how dinosaurs adapted to those ancient changes, we might, get insights into how life, including our own species, might adapt to the challenges that we're facing.
So their story is like a testament to the resilience of life, its ability to innovate and to find a way.
Exactly.
Even in the face of adversity. Okay, that's pretty profound. It is. It's like dinosaurs aren't just these giant, extinct reptiles. They're actually a window into understanding like the very essence of life itself.
That's beautiful. Couldn't have said it better myself. But, let's not lose sight of the details of this study.
Right.
We've talked about sauropods eating charcoal, diverse dinosaur diets, the 5-step model.
Yeah.
Is there anything that, sparked your curiosity?
Yeah.
Or that you found particularly surprising?
I gotta say, I'm still stuck on those sauropods and the charcoal.
Yeah.
Like, it's just mind-blowing. These giant creatures using charcoal as like a detox remedy. Like, who knew?
It really does make you, question what we think we know about these ancient animals, right?
Yeah, it's like, how resourceful.
It speaks to how everything's connected, the fires and the plants and the herbivores and the
whole ecosystem.
The detoxification. It's all part of this, delicate balance.
Yeah, it really is.
It just makes you realize that, like, every detail matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even something as seemingly insignificant as dino poop.
Right.
It can hold clues to this much, much bigger story.
It's amazing.
And speaking of bigger stories, this whole deep dive has really changed, like, my perspective on dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're not just extinct giants anymore, They're like...
What are they?
Like a blueprint for survival.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
A blueprint for survival. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, by studying how they, adapted and thrived for millions of years.
We can learn so much about the challenges facing life today.
Exactly.
And who knows, maybe those insights can even help us, navigate the future.
I think so.
So, in a way, learning about dinosaurs isn't just about the past. It's about the
present.
The present and the future. Yeah. It's about understanding, like, the principles of life on our planet, the big picture. But, before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder.
Ooh.
Something that, builds on everything we've talked about today.
I love that.
So we talked a lot about how dinosaurs, adapted to environmental changes through their diets. But here's something to chew on. Could those adaptations offer any lessons for us as we face the consequences of, deforestation?
That is a great question.
Deforestation impacts, like, the diets of countless animals today.
It does.
Just like, the shifting continents and climates affected dinosaurs millions of years ago.
It's true. And that's actually something that researchers are actively looking into.
Really?
Yeah. Like, could studying how dinosaurs adapted to changes in their food sources actually help us protect, modern ecosystems?
Wow.
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? And it's a reminder that the study of the past, can hold keys to understanding the present and shaping the future.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into dinosaur diet.
What a journey.
I know, right? Who knew dinosaur poop could be so thought-provoking?
It just goes to show you science is full of surprises.
Yeah.
And sometimes those most unexpected discoveries can lead to, the most profound insights.
Absolutely. So until our next deep dive,
Yep.
keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, even dinosaur poop has a story to tell.